Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time, whatever day that you are practicing, welcome. We're going into the PuruSharthas today. The PuruSharthas are the tenets of why we practice. In Buddhism, you have the Four Noble Truths. The PuruSharthas are the meanings of life. Like, why are we here? What are the goals, if there were to have any, not fixed value goal, but goals of the soul within our practice as yogis. And the first one is Dharma. And Dharma is our purpose. And I'll come back to that. The second one is Artha, our material needs, supporting what our purpose is, making sure that we have the abundance that is required for us to fulfill what we're called here to do. The third one is Kama, which is pleasure. And that's enjoying what you have, right? Not like, oh my God, I live in this beautiful house, but like there are people across the world like losing their lives because of landslides. It's still the ability to have empathy and compassion, but enjoy the fruits of what you have, because everything is karmic. And then the fourth one is moksha. Moksha is the liberation, knowing that you can enjoy the material realm, you can enjoy the fruits of what is sustaining you, but you're not attached to it. And that's a very delicate balance, right? Because we're human. We want to grip, we want to hold on, as much as we say like, I'm not attached. If someone, were to take away something that we truly loved and didn't think we were attached to, we would be very sad. And speaking of a relationship, for instance, right? There's attachment there. So today, and we're going to circle back because I think fall is a really great time to weave all of these tenets. Again, they're called the PuruSharthas. And Dharma is something that's lifelong. It comes up and your Dharma can shift every now and then. You might feel at one phase in your life, my Dharma is to teach group fitness and provide service in that way. You might feel that your Dharma might be to root chakra, providing a home and stability for someone. You might, at another phase, be called to share your artistry or your spirituality. And that might come, for many people, it comes in the later stages. After they've finished working and they're retired, then they have the time to really delve deeply. So our purpose can shift a little bit throughout the stages of our lives. And I really want to drive that home because sometimes we can feel like if we have to grip in the case of a career. This is my purpose. This is my Dharma. I am providing. This is my job. I've been doing this for X number of years. Or this is my job. I've been doing this for X number of years. I don't know what to do now. Right? And that's a job. Your purpose is inside, and that's with a sankalpa. And it calls forth what's really there, not what I'm thinking, not what I think my purpose is from the cerebral mind, but what is my deepest driving desire that's coming from my soul, and it's within the sacral chakra, and that awakens and that arises. And your soul purpose is very different from what our job purpose, our career purpose is. Your soul purpose, if it's of service or truth, you will find those layerings throughout your lifetime, because service can come in many different ways. So I want to definitely just put that layer on with Dharma. So that way we're not feeling like, well, my Dharma has changed, 50 million times in life. It can change depending on what your soul is calling you, which vehicle your soul is asking you to get in and drive through. Now, Artha, that's one that we struggle with. We might feel, especially as yogis, as, non-attachment. We're told non-attachment, and then the guilt, the shame, the inability to really enjoy or to ask for what we need. I need X number of dollars to support my rent, my mortgage, my bills, so that way I can provide the service of microphones. If you're teaching live, if you're buying your clothes, how you're showing up. What do you need? What types of food do you need? What types of organic groceries, Ayurveda, things that are healthy and meaningful to you. I need a daily sound bath or a monthly ritual or a weekly massage. Those things are very much in alignment with supporting your purpose. And then we come to kama. And that's something that we're going to be really focusing, particularly today, on the mat through asana. Kama has to do with pleasure. And you might have heard of the Kama Sutras. Sutra means thread. And they are the love story angles of how do we appreciate and love our bodies in ways that are sensual pleasure. Now, that's a very tricky one because in the West, kama is always sexualized. And in the East, kama is really about the enjoyment. Can I sustain a warrior two without wanting to come up and down out of it? Does that mean that maybe I need to not go as deeply and sink into my hips? Does it mean that maybe I need to bring my arms a little bit in front so that way I'm not overextending and then I've got to pop the shoulder out? Does it mean, and we'll be starting on our backs today, does it mean that maybe I need to not pull the strap as close to my face, right? How can I find pleasure without wanting to be pulled out of the moment? And then, of course, going a little bit more in depth, the minute that we have pleasure and we're able to yoke our pleasure in a transcendental way, then we experience moksha, liberation. And that is something that we dance with. We experience it in meditation when we are, it happens very, very small, very quickly, I should say. It's not, it's the brain doesn't really sustain what we experience, which is jyoti, that ball might not be there for 3 minutes. You might experience it for 3 seconds of bliss, and then the mind will start to pull you out again, and then you might experience it for another 2 or 3 seconds and it pulls you out. But it's not something that it's like, now I'm in samadhi, now I'm in moksha, and I'm there forever, and I don't want to come out, right? It's this liberation from the attachment, but at the same time, the enjoyment of what you're experiencing. So when we have those PuruSharthas in our life tenet, and it's very important because we ebb and flow. The purpose can change depending on our jobs, but your sole purpose is always your purpose, whether it's truth, whether it's service, whether it is nurturing, and you will find those weaves throughout your life. Your material needs, that might ebb and flow as well, depending on the climate, the country, your finances, medical things that happen, right? Your ability to find pleasure. If you have pain, if you have ailment, that will also trigger and, you know, test you to find those moments of pleasure. And then, of course, the moksha. Can I feel liberation with this age, with this state, with this body, with this ailment? Any questions about the PuruSharthas? Wonderful. Make sure you have a blanket. It is a bit chilly today. I know I have one somewhere. Make sure you have a blanket handy. If you'd like to spread your blanket on your mat so that way you're cozying in a little bit, absolutely do that. We'll start on the back with the knees into the chest. Find a happy baby pose. And again, anything that you need today to feel comfy and cozy, please give it to yourself. And you can go ahead and close your eyes and just start to scan your body here. In your happy baby, or bringing the knees into the chest, pre-happy baby, I should say. Can you lengthen your spine? Press the top of the crown down, tailbone down. And as you rock side to side, you might reach for peace sign fingers, yogic toe lock. You might reach underneath the knees. Can you keep lengthening your tailbone down to the earth? Now let's go ahead and rock all the way over to the left side. Let your body fall over to fetal position. Stack that right knee on top of the left and peel that right shoulder open. Totally okay to keep the right arm 90 degrees. And if it feels good for you, of course, you're welcome to extend the arm. And then close the eyes here. Scan your body. Where can you find pleasure as the shoulder starts to open, as the intercostal muscles by the rib cage start to broaden and lengthen. Where can you start to find ease and liberation, freedom within this shape? Slowly and intentionally draw that right arm one step at a time over to the left side. Gather your knees. And one more time, rock a little bit, just giving your back a little bit of massage here. And let your knees now fall over to the opposite side, right side. Stack that left knee on top of the right. And slowly start to peel that left arm open. And see if you can close the eyes here so you can experience what this shape feels like for your body. Where is opening up? Where can you experience pleasure? Where can you give a little bit more openness and expansion to your body right now? Pleasure can also come with time, right? Many times we feel like we don't have enough time, or I can't sleep, or I feel badly for staying in bed longer, or whatever story or conditioning we've come up with. But pleasure can also come in the enjoyment of time, staying in a pose or a shape or action for an extended period of time. Slowly draw that left arm in and roll over to the opposite side. And then gather your knees from the right side, come back onto your back. Keep your right knee into your chest and extend that left leg in front of you. And then we'll lift our head, our neck, our chest off of the earth. Ekapada Appanasana, wind expeller here. You might lengthen the arms and notice if this is pleasurable or if it feels like if you're straining. You might take that left leg up. And then see if you can soften your gaze. Keep the dristi very soft. And then give yourself what you need here. Either lowering the leg all the way down. Take one more smooth breath here. And then lower that left leg down to the earth. Find your strap and let's loop it around the ball of the right foot. Arm bones into the earth. Extend that right leg up. And then let the elbows, let the shoulders nestle into the ground. If the arms aren't being held by the ground, then give yourself enough slack with whatever your band is, or towel or strap. You can also use a tie here. And then close the eyes. Can you feel pleasure as you start to feel the hamstrings, the tendons in the back of the knees, even the calf open up? Energetically draw that right hip down as you take both ends of the strap into your right hand and open up that right leg just about 10%. As you feel the inner groin muscle opening here, can you give yourself pleasure by sustaining the elbows, by not forcing, by even softening the tongue inside the mouth so the jaw remains at ease. And take both ends of the strap now into your left hand and gently cross that right leg over to the left side. Thumb inside of your left hip crease. Draw that right hip down. And then let the eyes roll back into their sockets here. Slowly let that right leg come back to center. We'll release the strap. And today I'm going to ask you to draw the right knee as close as you can to the outer part of the rib cage. So the right knee is hugging the right side rib cage. It's almost as if you're in a lunge. And if you can, you'll take that right hand to the outer part of the right baby toes and keep drawing that right knee 90 degrees so the foot is flexed against the ceiling, and you're softening that right knee as if you're in lizard pose or lunging, right? So this is what it would look like if I were on the ground. And then very slowly draw that right leg down to the earth. Extend the right leg. Close the eyes here as you keep your hands on top of your belly and just notice, if you can, a subtle shift between the right side and the left side. It is possible to deepen our awareness. It is possible to train ourselves to become so aware and heightened that you can feel the blood flow and feel the energetics of one side opening up. Now I'm going to ask you to see if you can draw your awareness to the back body. Can you notice a subtle shift between the front plane and the back plane? Can you notice what might still feel restricted, tightened, and is not experiencing pleasure yet? And for anyone who is not yet fully within their awareness, just keep practicing the observing. Observing leads to awareness. Awareness leads to intuition. Draw that left knee in. And then let's go ahead and lift your head, your neck, your chest off of the earth. Maintain space here for an apple in Ekapada Uttanasana. And notice if you might experience some pleasure here. You can keep your hands on your shin, or you can lift that right leg up. And you might even slide the hands alongside your hips. And again, notice if you might be hardening, tightening. Notice if you are experiencing pleasure or frustration. And take one more smooth breath here. Lower the right leg. Lower the chest and shoulders. And this time loop the strap around the left leg. And then extend that left leg, giving yourself as much slack as you can so the elbows are on the ground. We're not going for the maximum range here. It's more important to make sure, and I'll show you here, that the knee is straight and it's not bent. You can always keep a little bit of a bend in the knee to protect the low back, but for the most part, it's absolutely okay to keep your leg where you are, not based on what you're seeing. And then as you close the eyes and you continue to peel the toes back towards your face, can you notice if the elbows are off of the ground, if the shoulders are up by the ears, and if the space between the shoulder blades is moving towards your ceiling rather than the earth. You really want to keep heavy shoulders, heavy elbows, heavy arms here. And then notice if you're experiencing pleasure in the back of the knee, back of the hamstring, left calf. If it's not bringing you joy, then it's not going to bring you pleasure. And when we restrict ourselves from experiencing joy and pleasure, then we are not in alignment with the bounty of nature, which is abundance. And take both ends of your strap and gently open up your leg to the left side, both straps in left hand on top of the right hip. Anchor that right hip down, noticing if you're overextending at all. Where can you find fluidity and ease, and at the same time, relaxation and peace? Gently take both ends of your strap now into your right hand. You can take your left thumb inside the left hip crease as you draw it down. This helps to align the pelvis and open up the low back. Both ends of the strap in the right hand, left leg over to the right side. Notice the sensation as the IT band, the muscle outside of the hip, running down the leg, is engaged. Slowly draw the left leg, back to center. Release the strap, keep peeling the toes back, and generously bend that left knee to the heart and to the outside of the rib cage. If you can, draw it all the way in. Fingers to the outside, if you can, of that left side baby toe. So it doesn't have to look like a right angle. It could look like an obtuse angle. And see if you can let the shoulders be heavy into the earth. Just giving yourself that runner's lunge pose here. And then release the left leg. Take the arms straight up overhead. We haven't done this in a while. We'll walk the legs over, crescent pose or banana asana. Walk your feet over to the right side, lower quadrant. Leave your hips where they are. And then take the arms up and over to the right upper corner. The hands don't have to touch here. If it feels good, you can turn your head to the left armpit. As the outer part of the body opens up, you might feel like if you need a little intensity, so you can cross that left ankle over the top of the right. If it's too much and it's not bringing you pleasure, keep them side by side. And then closing the eyes here, notice if you are trying to create a state of pleasure by fixing or adapting. Usually when we're fidgeting or trying to figure out or forcing beyond where our body can naturally lengthen, it means that we are not experiencing pleasure and joy. So a good rule of thumb is to start softly, start easefully, and as the tendons and the ligaments start to expand, which happens after about 30 seconds or so, there begins to be a little bit of give. And then you can increase the dial of how intense you want your shape to go. Remembering that in Vata season, our bones, our muscles, our body very much is aligned with the element of air, and it can get the excess air, Vata, gets stuck within our joints. Our bodies need a little bit more time to warm up and elongate. If that left leg is crossed, slowly uncross it and drag the shoulders. Drag your legs back to the earth. You're staying very grounded today. We are in fall, officially. And then walk the ankles over to the left side. Right ankle on top of left if that feels good, or back off. And then slide the shoulders up and over, hands overhead, left upper corner. If it feels okay for your neck, you can turn your chin to the right armpit. And we want to keep the shoulders, the elbows, the arm bones on the ground here. Once you establish what feels right for you, you can cross the outer ankle, that right ankle on top of the left, not at the expense of losing the proper alignment or losing the capacity to fully breathe in the posture. And then again, become the observer. Notice and observe from the inside out how your muscles are expanding. Can you feel the top of your hip moving away from the bottom of your rib? Can you feel the intercostal muscles expanding? Can you feel the upper body, latissimus dorsi, running down the side of the right side? And slowly, if that right leg is crossed, you're going to uncross it, drag the self back slowly. Find pleasure in this. We're no longer in summer where everything is heated up and needs to move fast. Draw the knees into the chest. Take your time here and find your happy baby pose one more time. Just creating a little traction on the spine, a little length. Don't always have to reach for the feet, but if that feels good for you, you can. And we're going to roll over to the right side fetal position. Don't get stuck there. We're actually going to roll completely over. And let yourself be heavy in child's pose. Big toes touch, belly in between the legs. Take a smooth breath here to inhale. And on your exhalation, wave through your spine. Stack your shoulders over your wrist. Cat-cow. Inhale, face broadens. Can I find pleasure? Exhale, press back to child's pose. Inhale, wave through the spine. Separate the shoulder blades. Broaden across the chest. Feel the skin peel away from the belly to the neck. Exhale, child's pose. And breathing in, opening up to light, radiance, magnetism on your cow pose. Breathing out, feeling that light charge and transform to every cell. On the exhalation. Take this 2 more times on your own. Broadening across the chest. And exhale, pulling back. Can you find pleasure in knowing that you don't have to move to anybody else's rhythm or timing? 8 billion people on this planet, soon to be 10. No one has your unique fingerprint, your stamp. Next time you come to neutral spine, all fours. I want you to pause here. Find your bolster. And we're going to go into a shoulder opener. Shoulders tend to get quite tight around this time. We're going to start on the highest height. Now, keep your bolster handy for this. And if, again, you need more padding for your knees, you can double your mat or your blanket rather. Forearms go to the block, and instead of dipping down, so peek up at what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to have this arch, right? So definitely don't want that sway back. Navel into spine, straight spine here. You can keep the arms together. That's one option. The second option is to place it on the second highest height, if that feels good for you. I like to use the bolster for this. It's a little bit softer. And then it gives your head a place where you can rest your forehead a little bit. And then once you find the place where you can find pleasure, and again, it's going to be different for each person, right? This is more of an extreme version. It's not something to work towards. It's just a matter of where can I find pleasure. And as I'm working with a shoulder issue, this feels most pleasurable for me. Maintaining that space of grace. Slowly come up out of it and find your child's pose one more time. Let yourself be heavy. This time, as you rock back, the counter pose is to round the shoulders. So your hands can go to the outside of the hips. Slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. And then pause here for a moment. And from this seated posture, if this posture doesn't feel good for you, you can make any adjustments that you need to now. We'll balance the breath here. We'll take the right hand under the left armpit, left under right. And as you close the eyes, just check in and see. Observe which side of your lungs is a little bit more expansive. We can re-regulate the flow by taking the hand that's on top, place it underneath the same armpit, just put it at the bottom. And we pressurize the nerve between the fifth and sixth rib. And once you start to observe that very subtle shift, where both rib cages, both lungs are breathing equally, you'll release the hands, index finger and thumb to touch, draw the chin to the chest. We're actually going to set ourselves up for pigeon pose today. So, keeping your bolster handy, we'll take that right leg. I always like to keep my blocks handy here for this. So we're getting into pigeon, grounding into the hips, grounding into and any other props that you need. If you know you need a few props, absolutely go ahead and do that. We'll take our right leg in between them. I'd like to take us today into a supported pigeon. So you'll take your block and you'll bring it about 1/3 or 2/3 of the way down. And depending on how your hip is feeling, take a few moments here to let your hands straddle. Go ahead and rock. Never want to be on the knee. So Doris, you're going to bring cushion to the outer part of that right side hip. So you're on your hip and not on your knee. Correct. And then bring your right foot over, your right heel over, a little bit more. That's it. Yep. Does that feel okay for you? Good. And Betsy, how are you?
I think I've got this, right?
Yeah.
No, that feels really good.
So just taking a few moments here, see if you can keep the same way we peel the skin from the belly, peeling that skin, meaning feeling that line lifting you up. Go ahead and just rock a little bit side to side here. Never on the knee. And then slowly here, I want you to lengthen forward. So take your time. Take your time. Might need to bring the bolster a little bit closer. And some of us might even need to make this a little higher, right? So you can make this as high or low as you need. And then once you feel comfortable, so my block is on the highest height, just to let everybody know. It's vertical. If it feels comfortable for you, you'll bring one ear or one cheek over to the side. And then let your shoulders be heavy here. If you have a second blanket, you can cover yourself. And we'll get into that in the Sankalpa ritual. And as you start to deepen into this shape, you might notice that you may have to make some very subtle adjustments with the heights of the blocks if something isn't working or needs adjusting. Or can you give yourself a little bit more pleasure so that you can experience liberation? The liberation that we're speaking of that happens in the shapes that we make in asana practice. Each shape represents a particular energetic force and is directly correlated to one of the chakras. So with hip openers, it directly correlates to the sacral region. So the sacral region is associated with our water center, our ability to experience likes and dislikes, pleasure, sensuality, sexuality, fluidity, our ability to go with the flow of life. And when our hips are not experiencing pleasure, and that's why with this particular shape, it's so important to give ourselves the tools that we need, an extra blanket underneath the seat, maybe sitting on a block, or not going as deep into the shape. Then we can really reap the benefits of finding the fluidity of this shape, which is meant to restore and balance swadhisthana. Now there is a grounding element also related to pigeon pose. So become the observer one more time here and notice if the shoulders are moving away from the earth and up to the ears. If the belly, if you're holding tightness in your belly, and if you can let your belly soften and just hang. the quality of your joints, your elbows, your hands. Notice if there is rigidity, stiffness, and slowly start to draw the hands back. Let your head be heavy, and see if you can roll up one vertebrae at a time. Take your time here. And then slowly we'll let ourselves shift, opening up that left hip. Draw that right hip close into you, and we'll move away from the bolster. So we'll take, I like to take a block on the inside as a gauge, left hand supported. Right arm's gonna go long by the ear first, then move away from the bolster. And keeping the arms in front of the legs helps to keep the body and the shoulders from overextending, and keeping the arm by the ear allows us to find that line. Trace the saham here. Slowly let that right arm move away from you. Keep your left ear over to the left side shoulder. Let that right shoulder be heavy, and then slowly drag yourself up. And then let that right shoulder come back to center. Right ear over to the right shoulder. Left shoulder is going to be heavy. Let your chin come back to center. And very slowly, very methodically, draw that left leg in. We'll set up for the opposite side. And as we start to shift already, you can feel the change of temperature. I'm going to encourage you to dress warmly. You can always take layers off. So come with your socks, your sweaters, your hoodies, your hats, and let yourself, some of you are already cozy, let yourself continue to feel the warmth and the pleasure of your body. Take a few moments here as you extend that right heel behind you. Always making sure that you are not sitting on your heel. In fact, stay exactly as you are, just for the sake of being able to demo this so no one is lost. I'll face this way. So the heel, I'm never sitting on my heel. If you need something underneath your hip, you absolutely can support that. Left heel over to the left side. Try to square the shoulders. Exactly, and feel that subtle lift. You want to feel the lift of the pelvic floor first. Might close the eyes and just listen to this cueing. It might sound very similar to pyramid pose. Keep that right hip moving forward and the left hip moving back. That's it. And one side is always more user-friendly than the other, so just be aware of that as you slowly now start to shift forward. One side is always going to need maybe a prop underneath that hip or butt cheek, or maybe lifting the bolster up a little bit. And I do want to let you know, or to validate, that you don't have to make one side exactly like the other. We can get very caught up in the binaries of making sure that the right side is exactly like the left, or if I didn't do it on the left side, I have to do it on the right side. And depending on your anatomy and any ailments or modifications that you're working with, we work within what we have. Now slowly here, to allow yourself to experience the pleasure of this shape. Notice if you might be hardening or gripping. And let yourself now sink into the earth. Let your tongue drop to the bottom half of your mouth. Let the eyes roll back into their sockets. And become the observer here. Is this shape bringing me pleasure? Do I have the materials that I need? The blankets, the blocks, the props, the pillows to support my pleasure so that I can experience liberation, balance. And let your tongue drop to the bottom half of your mouth and keep moving the ears away from the shoulders, away from the ears and down towards the earth. Let your belly soften here. Bring your forehead back to your pillow, your bolster, and slide the hands back. Slowly start to come up. And just take a moment here as you feel any subtle shifts. I know this is the reason why restorative is yummy and juicy. We hold these poses a little bit deeper, a little bit longer. And slowly let your right hip start to open. Take your time. It's called a circumduction of the hip. Tuck that left leg in. We move the block now to the inside of the right side calf, right forearm on top, and then left ear long by the ear. We reach up and over. And then where can you just close the eyes and enjoy this stretch, enjoy this lengthening? Are you over-efforting here? Can you spiral your heart up to the ceiling? Can you find the ceiling? Slowly let that left arm move away from you as you let your right ear continue to be heavy to the right side shoulder. So by doing that, you let the left side of the neck open up. And then use the support of the right hand on the block to push yourself away, right ear still heavy on the right side shoulder. Slowly let your head come back to center, left ear over to the left side shoulder. Right shoulder is going to be heavy. Bring your head back to center. And we'll set up today to elevate the legs in a reclined shavasana. So keeping your block, your bolster supported. Hopefully your blanket is close by. We'll let ourselves be covered up. Let the legs now be completely supported on your bolster. This helps to bring the deoxygenated blood back towards your heart. You can cover yourself with your blanket. If you have any eye pillows, you can do that. Cover the eyes. Any essential oils you'd like to bring into your space for aromatherapy. And let your eyes now soften. You might readjust the back of your head. You might lift your shoulders and find that space between the shoulder blades, resting more deeply. You might let your hips lift up so the buttocks can be supported by the flesh. And can you experience pleasure here? Feeling the support of the earth holding you up, and of the props as an additional nourishment to your body. Just feeling yourself grounded. All of your needs provided for. Connecting deeply into the earth. No longer fragmented. No longer separated. Coming back to the essence of who you are. Lokah, samastha, sukhino, bhavantu. Lokah, samastha, sukhino, bhavantu. Lokah, samastha, sukhino, bhavantu. Feeling yourself deeply supported within your Dharma, your purpose, knowing your needs are already met. Artha, supporting your Dharma, allowing yourself to receive pleasure of the experience. Kama, finding that liberation of non-attachment. Moksha. Stretch the arms up overhead as you're ready. Reach one side longer than the other. Let yourself be guided into fetal position. Use the strength of your top hand. Slowly rise to any comfortable seat, letting your head arrive last. Press the palms to the heart center and bow your head. And feel this merging of opposites. Subtle, material, right, left, solar, lunar, up, down. And feel how they balance in this one gesture. You can find the seal of this gesture right here in prayer pose, this union. So bow down to what this represents, the bridge of duality, the bridge of union right in the heart. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a super wonderful rest of your day. Namaste. Make a fist with the right hand, cover it with the left, press it below the navel, lean forward. Feel that subtle lift of your pelvic floor, bringing you straight back up.